that, ladies and gentlemen, for our next keynote turns to a critical topic, securing Indonesia's financial future, cyber resilience as a growth enabler. Please welcome to the stage the Chairman Indonesian Digitalizations and Cybersecurity Associations from Adiksi. Please welcome Firly Ganin Duto. Stage is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is a very challenging time for any speakers to talk. We are full by lunch already and very critical and sleepy moments. So I'm trying to bring the excitement to talk about security in Indonesia's financial future. So let me begin. Distinguished guests, speakers, respected regulators, industry leaders, partners, and colleagues. A very great honor for me to talk here at Finance 2045 Indonesia and to share a perspective on topic that is becoming increasingly important for Indonesia financial sector, which is securing our financial future through cyber resilience. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to TRESCON, the organizer of this event, and especially to Mr. Navin, the CEO of TRESCON, for the kind invitation extended to me. On behalf of Adiksi, we also highly appreciate the opportunity to collaborate with TRESCON in this important and remarkable forum. We believe that Finance 2045 provide a very timely platform to discuss not only the future finance, but also the trust, security, resilience required to sustain the future. When we speak about the future of finance, we often talk about digital banking, we talk about fintech, we talk about payment innovation, AI, open finance, financial inclusion. But behind all of these innovations, one foundation is becoming increasingly important, which is trust. For financial sector, cybersecurity is no longer only an IT issue. It is now a matter of business continuity, governance, and growth. That's why cyber resilience must be seen not only as protection, but as growth enabler for Indonesia's financial future. Before going further, let me briefly introduce Adiksi. Adiksi is Indonesian Digitalization and Cybersecurity Association. It is a national organization established to strengthen and safeguard Indonesia's digital infrastructure. Our work focuses on developing the cybersecurity ecosystem through industry capability building, technological advancement, cross-sector collaboration, awareness, certification, standardization, and regulatory alignment. Our vision is becoming the key pillar in building a cybersecurity ecosystem that is resilient, innovative, and sustainable. One of that protects Indonesia's digital sovereignty while supporting national economic growth. This is important because digital transformation cannot stand alone. Every platform, every transaction, every data-driven service, and every financial innovation needs a foundation of trust and security. At Adiksi, our scope includes critical infrastructure, cyber resilience, cybersecurity governance and regulations, talent development, public-private partnership, methodology standardization, and strengthening the local cybersecurity industry. For the financial sector, these areas are highly relevant. Financial institutions depend on technology providers, cloud services, payment infrastructures, APIs, third-party vendors, and increasingly artificial intelligence. So the resilience of one institution is closely connected to the resilience of the whole ecosystem. This is why Adiksi continues to invite more stakeholders to collaborate with us. For those who like to learn more about Adiksi or explore collaboration with us, you may visit our website at adiksi.id. Now, let us look at the broader cyber threat landscape in Indonesia. Based on the traffic anomaly monitoring by BSSN National Security Operations Center, Indonesia recorded more than 8.4 billion national traffic anomaly activities from January to 2020 to November 2025. In 2025 alone, the number reached almost 4.9 billion anomalies, or nearly 184 attempted attacks per second. So it's a big number. This number shows that cyber threats are not occasional events, they are continuously persistent and increasingly automated. At the same time, Indonesia is becoming more digital. We have around 221 million internet users with a penetration rate of almost 80%. Our digital economy continues to grow, and the financial sector is one of the most important engines of that growth. Digital banking, KRIS, payment gateways, e-wallets, fintech lending, open banking, API integration, and cloud infrastructure have made financial services faster than more inclusive. But they have also expanded the tech surface. The key point in this is cybersecurity is now directly linked to economic stability and public confidence. When a digital finance services is attacked, the impact is not only technical, it can affect transactions, business continuity, regulatory confidence, and public trust. Next slide. If we look across sectors, we can see that cybersecurity risks are not the same everywhere. Financial services, healthcare, manufacturing, each have different exposure, different vulnerabilities, different operation consequences. In the financial sector, cyber risk is directly connected to critical financial services. Payments, transaction, account access, customer data, fraud exposure, and institutional reputation. Some of the challenges identified in the sector include web encryption issues, end-of-life software exposure to network services, and other vulnerabilities that may appear technical but can quickly become a business critical if left unmanaged. This is why sector-specific approach is very important. For financial services, cybersecurity cannot be treated only as a compliance checklist. It must be integrated into operational resilience, risk management, customer protection, and business strategy. The sector needs real-time threat intelligence sharing, continuous vulnerability monitoring, strong patching discipline, enhanced incident response protocols, and better coordinations among institutions. In short, we do not only need stronger individual institutions, but we need a stronger financial cyber ecosystem. Now look at the threat landscape facing digital finance more specifically. Indonesia's digital finance system is facing increasingly organized and destructive cyber threats. These include ransomware, phishing, and social engineering, DDoS attacks, API exploitation, credential theft, and supply chain attacks. One of the most serious examples is ransomware. In 2023, Adixis Indonesia Industry Cybersecurity Report recorded that 271 ransomware incidents in Indonesia's financial sector involving 44 different threat groups. These attacks targeted transactional data, customer databases, back-end system, e-wallet infrastructure, switching providers. Today, ransomware is dangerously not only to become encrypts data, attackers may also steal data, threaten to publish it, combine extortion with DDoS, or use disruption as leverage. For financial institutions, the impact is multidimensional. There is operational impact because systems may become unavailable. There is a financial impact, including recovery costs, fraud exposure, penalties, and business interruption. There are reputational impact also because customer may lose confidence, and there is a systemic impact because financial services are interconnected. This is why ransomware readiness must be treated as a board-level issue. It is not enough to ask, we have backup? The better questions is, can we continue critical operations under pressure, and how fast can we recover with trust intact? This brings us into the main argument of the keynote. Digital finance is no longer only a service layer. It is becoming a daily economic infrastructure. Payments, banking, fintech, and open finance are now embedded into daily life of individuals, SMEs, corporations, and public services. People use digital payments to buy food, pay transportation, send money, access credit, receive salaries, and run businesses. Companies rely on digital financial infrastructure for transactions, supply chains, payroll, customer engagement, and market access. So when financial services become always on infrastructure, cyber incidents become economic incidents. A cyber incident can disrupt transactions and market activities. It can expose customer data. It can enable fraud and account takeover across multiple channels. It can create third-party disruption that affects more than one institution. This is the reason we need to shift our mindset. Traditional cybersecurity asks, how do we prevent the attacks? Cyber resilience asks a broader question. How do we prepare, withstand, respond, recover, and maintain trust even when the attacks happen? For the financial sector, resilience means that critical transactions, data, system, and customer confidence can survive pressure and recover quickly. The strategic implication is clear. Financial cyber resilience must be treated as part of national digital resilience, not only institutional IT security. From Adixis perspective, strengthening cyber resilience requires several strategic pillars. First, critical infrastructure, cyber resilience. The financial sector is part of Indonesia's critical digital economy. Its systems must be protected, monitored, tested, and continuously improved. Second, cybersecurity governance and regulations. Regulations is important, but objectives should not be compliance for compliance sake. The objective should be measurable resilience. Third, talent development and awareness. Technology alone is not enough. We need skilled people. SOC analysts, incident responders, threat hunters, security architects, auditors, and executives who understand cyber risk. Fourth, public-private partnership. Government and industry must work together because the threat landscape moves faster than any single institution. Fifth, methodologies and standardization. We need common frameworks, maturity assessments, audits, incident response exercises, and standards that can be understood across institutions. And sixth, a competitive and resilient local cybersecurity industry. Indonesia needs strong local capability, not only as users of technology, but also as builders, implementers, and trusted partners. These pillars are not separated from financial growth. They are part of the foundations that allows innovations to scale safely. One important component of resilience is how we coordinate detection, response, and recovery. This is where the concept of national and sectoral SOC framework becomes very relevant. Each sector has different risks. Financial sector, for example, has specific threats related to payments, fraud, account takeover, API exploitation, customer data, and transaction availability. A sectoral SOC or sectoral coordination mechanism allows each sector to manage threats in more tailored way while still maintaining alignment with the national cybersecurity framework. The objective is not to centralize everything. The objective is to create coordinated visibility and coordinated response. We need stronger incident response coordination, better threat intelligence sharing, and more proactive support for vulnerability management and policy development. In major incidents, such state-sponsored attacks, cross-sector disruption, or attacks on critical infrastructure, coordination become even more important. In a connected financial ecosystem, speed matters. The faster we can detect, share, coordinate, and respond, the better we can reduce the impact. Cyber resilience is not only about having tools, it is about having the right coordination model before the crisis happens. The next point is collaboration. Cybersecurity is one of the clearest examples of why public-private partnership is essential. The private sector operates much of the digital infrastructure. The government holds national coordination, regulatory, and policy responsibilities. Associations can help bridge the two by translating policy into industry practice and industry experience into policy insight. For the financial sector, collaboration should include several practical mechanisms. First, multi-tiered partnership. Not every institution has the same cybersecurity maturity. Smaller players may need simplified guidance, while advanced institutions can participate in bi-directional threat intelligence sharing. Second, real threat intelligence exchange. Information must be actionable, trusted, and shared quickly enough to prevent wider impact. The third one is cyber incident review mechanism. After major incidents, we need structured learning. What happened, what failed, what worked, what policy or operational improvement are needed. Fourth, international cooperation. Cyber threats are cross-border. Threat actors do not respect national boundaries. So Indonesia must stay connected with regional and global cybersecurity communities. In short, cyber resilience is a collective discipline. It cannot be achieved through isolated action. So, how can Adiksi support financial resilience? We see several practical areas. First, sector readiness programs. This may include maturity assessment, baseline mapping, and board-level reporting templates. So, cyber risk can be understood not only by technical teams, but by decision makers. Second, incident response exercises. Financial institutions should regularly test scenarios such as ransomware, DDoS, data breach, API compromise, third-party disruption, and fraud escalation. Third, threat intelligence exchange. Adiksi can help support trusted and curated information sharing between institutions, government, and cybersecurity providers. Fourth, talent, and certification. Indonesia needs more role-based capability development aligned with SOC, incident response, and operational cybersecurity needs. Fifth, secure AI adoption. As AI becomes more embedded in financial services, we also need governance for model risk, fraud detection, cyber defense, data protection, and prevention of AI abuse. And six, standards and local industry. We need common controls and trusted implementation partners so resilience can be built consistently across the ecosystem. Adiksi role is not to replace regulators or institutions. Our role is to complement them by strengthening industry capability, facilitating collaborations, and supporting a more resilient digital finance ecosystem. Ladies and gentlemen, let me close this message. Indonesia's financial future will be digital. It will be more connected, more intelligent, more inclusive, more real-time. But to make the future sustainable, it must be secure, trusted, and resilient. Cyber resilience is not only about preventing cyber attacks. It's about protecting the public trust. It's about ensuring the continuity of essential financial services. It's about enabling innovation with confidence. And it's about strengthening Indonesia's position in the digital economy. If we want to go digital finance to grow, we must make trust scalable. If we want AI and open finance to create value, we must ensure that the underlying systems are secure by design. And if we want Indonesia's financial sector to remain competitive towards 2045, cyber resilience must become part of our national growth agenda. On behalf of Adiksi, we look forward to working together with regulators, financial institutions, technology providers, industry associations, and all stakeholders in building a safer and more resilient digital financial ecosystem for Indonesia. Thank you very much.